Title: Stories They Don't Teach in Schools, Episode 4. Subtitle: The Wilmington Coup, When Democracy Was Burned to the Ground. They called it a riot. But it wasn't a riot. It was a coup. A violent, coordinated overthrow of a government by men who could not accept equality. And for over a century, the truth of what really happened was buried beneath lies, silence, and shame. The year was 1898. The city of Wilmington, North Carolina, stood as a rare and powerful example of what Black progress looked like after Reconstruction. It was a bustling port city, one of the largest in the state, and unlike most southern cities of the time, Wilmington had a majority Black population. But it wasn't just about numbers. It was about power. Black people weren't on the margins, they were leading. They were teachers, business owners, doctors, skilled workers, and politicians. Black and white citizens worked side by side in a coalition government. Black men held seats on the city council. The Daily Record, a Black-owned newspaper, stood tall as one of the most respected publications in the South. Wilmington had become a symbol, a living, breathing proof that a multiracial democracy was possible. But to the white supremacist elite of the time, this thriving city was more than just a threat. It was a challenge to everything they stood for. So they made a plan. Months before the attack, political leaders, businessmen, and former Confederate soldiers met in secret. Their goal: to destroy Black political power in Wilmington and send a message to the entire nation. They held rallies. They printed lies in newspapers, spreading fear about Negro rule and Black dominance. They promised their supporters that they would redeem the city. And on November 10, 1898, they did exactly what they planned. As the sun rose, white mobs, some armed with rifles and machine guns, flooded the streets. They marched straight to the Daily Record and set it ablaze, watching as flames consumed one of the strongest voices for Black freedom. Then came the blood. Black men were hunted, beaten, and killed in the streets. Some were shot trying to defend their homes. Others were dragged out of businesses and executed in cold blood. Families ran for their lives through alleyways, hiding in swamps, clutching their children in the dark. While the smoke still curled through the city, the mob marched to City Hall. There, at gunpoint, they forced the legitimately elected Black and white fusion government to resign. In one afternoon, democracy was overthrown. In one afternoon, white supremacists seized full control of Wilmington. But the violence didn't end with the coup. Over 2,000 Black residents fled the city, never to return. Homes were abandoned. Businesses were destroyed. Generational wealth was wiped out. Wilmington, once a beacon of Black power, became a warning. And then came the silence. Textbooks called it a race riot. Newspapers buried the truth. The story was erased from classrooms, history books, and national memory. For over 100 years, many Wilmington residents grew up never hearing the truth of what happened in their own city. But history has a way of clawing its way back. Descendants of the victims began to speak. Historians dug into archives. Lost photographs, testimonies, and newspaper clippings painted a chilling picture of what really happened that day. Today, we call it what it truly was: the Wilmington Massacre, and the only successful coup d'état on U.S. soil. This wasn't just a moment of violence. It was a message that Black success and political power would not be tolerated in a white supremacist America. But it's also a story of resistance, of those who survived, those who remembered, and those who refused to let the truth die in silence. If you believe the truth should never be buried, subscribe, follow, and stay with us as we uncover the stories they don't teach in schools.